almost in a way of being like, well, I can do it, and I'm decent at lane, and I can learn lane and stuff like this. Talk to me about that, and then talk to me about that kind of mentality. Where do you think that people fall into deficits? Why can't Western laners keep up? Is it because the competition is so much lower in solo queue environment?
I mean, I don't really. I mean, I never really did that or like play secret accounts or nothing like that. Like, if
Did you
anything, I
not?
just did. No, if anything, I only play on like account to learn the champs. I guess mid lane and top lane to like know the limits of the champ more. So when I play against it or I play with it, I can have a better idea on what I should expect to happen or how much they can basically do. I never really like do something to prove that I can do it better than my teammate because I really can't. Like, it's
That's
not
fair. Bad info
easy
then. My
to.
fault.
Yeah, it's if I would be good enough to play mid lane, I would roll swap a long time ago.
That's fair.
I think it's hard to just roll swap during your career to a different role and get to the same high level as long as you're not roll swapping into support. I think if you roll swap into support, you can get good in a year. I think other roles take more time. But yeah, so I never do it for a purpose to like show someone that yeah, I can do it better than, because as I said, I can't.
I didn't
And
necessarily mean better, but also more from a thing of like just to add an alternative perspective.
um, I don't know. I mean, I think it's just for my own improvement. I think if I want to help someone, I usually just look at the laning phases and just ask them questions about like why they didn't want to trade on this timer, or why did they want to recall on this timer instead of this, or why did they not recall on this wave when they had good opportunity because it would sync up with the jungle more. I think that way, if you give them a lot of questions, I think they have to start thinking about answers, and if they think about answers, they obviously will start thinking more about what they're doing. Because
Do you think you
have
know more
a
about lane than a lot of laners?
no, not really, but I mean, okay, I mean, I know decent amount about laning. I think if you look at it from the outside perspective, then actual laner, you can actually help them as well.
Yeah, that's true.
But I ask a lot of questions because I want to know why they do some things, because maybe I can use it if I would be playing my games, and like if I would be playing my offroad game, I can use that because that looks good to me, like what they're doing and why they are doing it. Because like someone doing something, or like you see that someone does something, and then actually knowing why they did that is a big difference. So I try to make sure that every decision my teammates take, like they actually think about it, because there is a lot of times where you kind of don't think about the decision and you just do it, and I don't really like that. I like when players have purpose in the game, like they actually do something because they want to achieve some goal in the game. Like it can be just a tempo recall, it can be a good trade, it can be I don't know, saving your mana. That's why you're not trading because there is a crab spawning and stuff like that. Like I just like when people are thinking about what they're doing, and I think asking questions is just forcing them naturally to think more.
It's called the Socratic method. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
You could use that one next year if you want to sound smart. Going back to going back to what we were talking about earlier in terms of this, one of the things I want to get to the bottom of is you talked about actually in response to what people were saying, you agree with him, but actually the individual accountability is important. And it sounds like what you're saying is, well, guys, we fucking suck at lane. What else is there to talk about? Would that be fair to say? That's obviously a more rude way of the way you're putting it, but
I mean, it did happen often in scrims, so that's why I was trying to like not overthink a lot of stuff, because in my mind, some matchups that were actually fine to play and would work fine on stage were just losing in scrims, and that just caused us to think, no, that matchup is bad, no, this champion is bad, we shouldn't play this, we should play this instead, and I think, yeah, a lot of the times it was not because of the champion, it was more of a skill issue or decision issue in the game that we should work on rather than the champion.
cool.
So I think you have to have a good balance in that one.
So one of the problems that I'm kind of getting from you is that it kind of went through a process of, you went from not being able to win many scrims, and then it becomes a thing of not really evaluating the factors in isolation that led to it, and then it leads to like bad analysis and bad feeling.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, cool. From that point onwards, like, how do you? Was it just a thing when that started happening? There was no saving it. There was no coming back from it. Because by the sounds of it, by the end of Worlds and just kind of interviews you're giving and kind of like what we can read between the lines of interviews that you and Whipper have given, especially, it just seemed that like it was a thing where kind of team atmosphere was really not great. It just seemed like a completely nosedive.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like that. I think it just felt it felt kind of lost. I guess we didn't really know what we should change in order to fix that, and I think no one really took any certain action, I guess, to change it. So it was just a freestyle on stage. Just try to play well, and maybe we'll win, even though the scrims are going pretty bad and we're not learning anything. Hopefully we're gonna perform on stage. Hopefully we're gonna get a lucky draw, and yeah.
I kind of want to give you an out here, not an out to say that you didn't need it, but I think one of the things that you inevitably end up finding yourself in when you do these interviews, and I say to you, one of my purposes and what I like to do in my longer form interviews is to be, I know from speaking to you that you're like, the way you're very plain and blunt, and it's kind of what we talked about here, but it's also about giving people a fair trial in terms of, you know, humanization and stuff like this. What do you think that you did badly at Worlds? Like, what elements of your play were really bad? Because it's often when we talk about stuff like here, it's easy for the person watching us to be like, well, he's just blaming everyone else. Where does the accountability come? I kind of wanted to give you a chance to think, well, what did you do wrong? Like, maybe where did you fail as a leader in this team? Because you said you were a leader. You know, at the end of the day, it falls on the leader if team atmosphere nosedives. Where do you think your play lacked and stuff like this? Talk to me about that.
I mean, for sure, I shouldn't. I think or like I shouldn't lose the belief. Probably, I think I should be the guy that try to kind of fake it, even if I don't have it, like towards my teammates, that it's okay and that we can still win and like we can still perform well and stuff like that. I was more of like trying to review everything and trying to fix everything. I think at some point it's probably better to just realize that there's not much fixing, but don't really like say it out loud. I think just try to make it as easy as possible to everyone and just hope that it's gonna be good enough. And what I should have done better, I mean, there's not many games that I played, and I think all of the games had kind of different way we lost. I think what I could have done better is just make sure that everyone was calling me the game, because I don't know, I felt like I was doing it fine, but I don't know why Bupo told me after the game that he felt like he needed to do more inside of the game, against G2 especially. Like I was feeling in game very confident that we're in a good spot, and he told me in the game that he didn't feel like it, and that just made me think like, did I not do good enough job of just making sure that everyone knows the game is going fine for us and we are in a good spot. And in the game stuff, let me think. I think CFO series, I think I did really well on Vi. I think I don't know what else I could have done. I think the Kiana game against CFO, I think maybe I could have played a bit different mechanically on the first situation on the ground, but that's like also a minor mistake. I don't really know what I could have changed there. I think maybe I should have gave more confidence to our teammates in our T1 game in the early game, but it also, I don't know, felt like felt hard. I'm not sure playing the draft on like the game overall. It was not that many games in Worlds that I could review because what we played, like 2, 5, like 7 games.
7 games, yeah.
Yeah, out of 7 games there was not that many things that I can think of. Where did we lose to? We lost to CFL, T1 and T2, right? We didn't lose other games.
Yeah, you
Okay,
beat
then,
Team Secret Worlds and Diva Kid Stars.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I felt like I did what I should have done in the CFO and G2 game, and the T1 game. Maybe I should have given more confidence to the players, like when we were actually strong, because I think our draft was pretty strong before level 6, and maybe we could have pressured a bit more for the first 4 levels. But after we didn't pressure that and we lost one team fight, I don't really know what I could have changed. Like, it's pretty tough.
I wanted to ask because presumably when you look at the construction of this roster, you look at players. You kind of go back to the LS thing of like players who are zoomed out. I think you and Bipper are both similarly. You think about the game cerebrally. We talked about that earlier in regards to if he has a wacky idea, you respect it because it has intention, it has thought process behind it. That seems to me to be a strength that you guys share in common and a reason for you ideologically to be on the same page. At least in 2024. Sounds like in 2024 there's a rift there in that regard, and I'm getting that from the fact that you keep going back to kind of talking about him feeling like he needed to do more. And you guys being out of sync, out of tempo on this idea of doing too much. Where did this rift come from? Because it seems like you guys were on the same page, but then presumably on different chapters at this Worlds. Where did that start? How did it happen?
I think it came from Whippo losing trust to us, I guess, as teammates. I think Whippo was the person that was actually performing really well in all the games that I was talking about. Like, I think he was actually performing way better than top laners on enemy teams, like all the Asian teams that we played in scrims. Like, he was playing really well, and yeah, no matter what he did, we would still lose the game because mid lane was slowly falling behind, bot lane was falling behind. We took one 3v3 like around 10 minutes, and we would just like get 3-for-1 or 3-for-0. Meanwhile, he's like having a 15 CS lead or like trying to do something, playing his like best jump, which was like Sion back then or like at Worlds. And yeah, he just felt like no matter what he did, he would still lose the game. So I see why he felt like he needed to do more in order to win. But I think it's because he took the scrims, I guess, too seriously. And yeah, like if the game on scrims was going bad, like I knew that on stage the laning phase is not gonna be as important. Like even though we are losing scrims, I will have hope for the offshore game because I think laning phase is not as important in offshore game as it is in scrims and not as volatile. So as long as we get good draw, make good decisions in the game, like we can actually still compete. But in scrims it just felt unplayable. And yeah, I think we put a lost trust to all the players on the team because of how bad we played in scrims. And yeah, I mean, we can't really fully blame it on him because I think we obviously could have played better and then that he wouldn't lose the trust, but also losing the trust because we were making some mistakes during scrims that were not really like, I guess decisions were not really bad. I think we're just down gold and we'll still try to take a fight and we'll just obviously lose it, and that's just what is supposed to happen if you take a fight down gold against a good team. So yeah, I mean, I guess he overthink about all of this stuff, and he just felt like he needs to be the guy driving the whole game, otherwise we will not win. And that kinda, I guess, hit us like badly because he ended up throwing his big leads that we had in few games we played.
I wanted to ask you a question, and potentially it's something you might not want to get into, in which case we can move on completely. But I'm not really interested in the Whippo drama that unfolded. That doesn't interest me in talking about it. But I wanted to ask you, in terms of bad environment in regards to scrims leading up to it, it kind of all of those events seemed like massive dominoes being set. It was the C9 dinner post into Dokla trap, into all of this kind of stuff. Do you think this was which way around is the relationship? Was it these factors influencing a bad team environment, or was it a bad team environment influencing those factors, or those chain events?
I don't think these things had much in common. I think if anything, like all the dramas that happened around Whippo, I think it just made him way more nervous. I think about like everything around him. I assume about his future and about yeah, overall about everything around him. I think he just became more stressed. I don't think it really affected us much. I think yeah, I think the other players, I wouldn't say that all of like something outside of the game caused our issues in game. Yeah.
That's interesting. That pretty much brings us to the kind of the end of kind of 2025. The end of your, presumably, allegedly, the end of your time on FlyQuest. How do you kind of look back and give kind of a closing statement on it over those 2 years? Because obviously, in some capacity, achieved great things. The peak, the apex of that, probably the 5 games against Gen G. But I'd imagine there's also an element of you that feels like so much more could have been done. How do you reflect on it?
I mean, it was for sure a very good time, like playing on FlyQuest. I think starting from every person working at the organization, the whole organization was really good. Like basically anything we could have asked for, it was done. I think we all were matching good, like as people, like we didn't really have any issues, so we were fast on improving. But as you said, I think it felt pretty disappointing that we always were close, but we never really won anything very important. Like we only farmed an A, but that doesn't really matter, and that was kind of expected, I guess. So yeah, I mean, it was a great time, but I think we'll never feel like super happy because we could have done better.
That's fair. And I wanted to kind of give you an opportunity before we move on to kind of our last topic of the show. If you could share one, either from anywhere from ranging from a funny memory, a happy memory, a cute memory, a memorable memory about each of your teammates, to starting from Whippo and going down.
I mean, that's a tough question to just think about it right now. I massively for sure the thing about the pink ward. Like, I will never forget it in my life. Like, that was the funniest thing I've ever heard. And when I pressed tab and I see my Jhin running out of place with a pink ward, like, it was so funny. Because I was asking, like, can't you just, like, take sweeper then? Like, your support can just take sweeper? And he's like, no, like, pink ward, something, you don't have to hit the ward, something, blah, blah. Like, that was so funny. About Quad, I mean, the funniest was probably when we drew Genji and he comes into the room and says, guys, I will play Seraphine. Like, the first thing he says. That was pretty funny.
Do you get the impression from that he'd been thinking about that for a long time? Like he'd been dreaming about playing against Genji?
I don't know, honestly. I don't know. Like, we drew Genji, I was like, oh no, it's lost. And then he says, guys, I'll play Seraphine. And that was pretty funny. Quick one Lucio, like, what would be...
It doesn't have to be funny. It can be like a sweet memory, you know? Like a nice memory. Kind of want to just give you a chance to reflect on your time with them, you know?
I don't know. Hard to think about something specific.
We can maybe circle back to it at the end. What I wanted to move on to next is kind of where things are at right now, because obviously can't confirm anything. It's all kind of allegedly up in the air, but at least it's fair to say from what Wooloo's been saying, you're not coming back to Europe. I kind of wanted to ask you, if you're comfortable me asking, what are the main reasons why potentially you might not come back to Europe? Because one of the comments you gave in an interview is you said that you don't think you could improve much more in NA, which assumedly, unless you've been brushing up in your career, means the only place you think you could improve is in Europe.
I don't know if I would improve in Europe significantly more than NA. I think both regions are kind of low. I think I would improve if I played with really strong players. I think I always wanted to play with Caps, and I always considered coming back to Europe if I got to play with Caps. So if there was ever an option, I would for sure consider it heavily. And I want to go to the region where I feel like I have a higher chance of winning and going into international. And yeah, I think that's what I value more. I feel like if my roster is not going to be good enough to be favorites to win the whole thing, I don't really... I mean, I will obviously choose the team that I feel like is the favorite. So I think it's just between choosing a better option. I don't think I look at it like I for sure want to go back to EU or I for sure want to stay in NA. I just look at the team which I have the most hope in, and yeah.
What were the strongest projects for you in this offseason, if you don't mind me asking? Presumably G2, you mentioned the Caps there.
I mean, G2 is a strong team. I enjoyed playing with Jojo. I think Jojo is a very like strong mid laner. I think CoreJJ is a strong player that I always wanted to play as well with. Like when I was coming to NA, I was seeing him as the best NA player. Impact, I played with Impact on EG, and I felt like he was like such a great player to have around that helped inside the game a lot. So yeah, I guess these four players are the guys.
No one on KC? Strike your fancy?
Oh, KC, yeah, true. Kalist is very, very promising. I wonder how he actually operates inside the team. Like, from watching him on the server, it seems like he's very aggressive and also calm in what he's doing. Like, he's not really someone that is too aggressive. I think he has a good pace between that. So he also has a lot of potential.
If you don't mind me asking, did you speak to G2 this offseason?
No, I didn't.
So there's no interest from, presumably if you're saying you want to play with Caps, I don't know how it works, I'm kind of more, is it like a thing where your agent reaches out or they reach out to you? You didn't think to try and oust Skimon and play with Caps and reach your dream finally?
As long as, I mean, as far as I know, I don't think there was any interest.
Okay, fair enough. And in terms of where you've made your decision this offseason, because even if we can't necessarily confirm or deny where you are going, I believe the decision has been made. What were the main motivating factors in terms of the project that you have done?
I do believe in the team. I think we have a high chance. Would have a high chance to win. So, as I said, I feel like I want to join the best team that I feel confident going to international. I don't really want to join a team where I will have to, like, I will not be a favorite to win, and I don't feel like super confident that I can win with a team. Because at this point of my career, I want to win something in the international stage. So I want to have the best team possible around me in order to achieve that.
I think that's a completely valid way to look at it. I think that pretty much wraps up everything from me. We've talked about anything from your last 2 years, where you're going. I think as a final question, I'm interested in hearing from you. Why do you think European players just so much better than North Americans? Like, what is it that we have, like, innately to us?
I think it's on average. I think on average, American players are so much worse than European players. I think there's few American players that have a lot of talent and a lot of potential, but on average, they're so much worse. Why is that? I think for sure there is less players playing. I do think that you also meet pro players probably way more often when you play in EU server if you actually get to Challenger. Like I remember when I was 15 and I got to Challenger for the first time, like I was meeting pro player like every second game basically, while in NA it will never happen. Like maybe you'll get one pro player. If you get like top 20 of Challenger, you'll meet like one pro player every third game. But the rest of the players is just so bad that the whole level of the game is like not gonna help you too much. So I think just environment that is happening in EU is just way more professional and like way better for new players to actually try getting into like elite level of gameplay. I think in NA is just impossible.
Would you ever consider joining Fnatic? Were they ever an option for you?
Fnatic is a good org, but I don't know if they have some roster coming. Not sure.
Fair enough. I was out drinking with their CEO last night. So. Good guy. Buys his mouth. He pays for the pints. He's a good guy. Fnatic credit card. What do you think about Kalist and Lucio? Do you think it's going to go well for him? Because you spoke about Kalist quite highly just then.
I think it will go well. I think Kalist seems like a guy that is more talkative inside of the lane. I think big mistake, or like not big mistake, big issue about bot lane was that both Mas and Lucio, as I said, they were really good friends outside of the game. Like they were spending so much time together. But when they came into the game, like they didn't speak to each other at all. They were like almost on mute. laning, and I just didn't really like get it. To me, like if you play dual lane in bot lane, you can plan so much things around your lane, around your base timing, around your trades, around everything, around level up timings. I feel like they could give more direction to each other, and it would make both of them play better. And I think that was a big issue for them. And Khalees doesn't seem like a quiet guy. I think he'll for sure help Lucio improve a lot when it comes to early lane aggression and early lane windows. So I think they're gonna be a very scary duo to face. I would say probably the best in Europe.
Interesting. Wow, just off the gap, off the off the cuff there immediately. Cool, interesting to hear. I wanted to kind of, as we close, give you an opportunity to flame some players. I'm sure you've been itching to do that. Not necessarily, but let's talk about. I wanted to ask you your opinion on, just quick fire opinion on some of the junglers that play in the West right now. What do you think of Skumon as a player?
I think he is just a bit too scared sometimes. I think he understands his role well, but I think sometimes he over-respects the enemies and just gives a bit too much freedom. That's how I felt when I played against him. And yeah, I think sometimes he's just too scared. Like, I've seen a lot of games of his when he was playing Xin Zhao, and instead of flash ult up, and instead of like trying to go in and just create space for your team, he was kind of leaking out and yeah, like just not giving enough space for his teammates to play. So I think he's a solid player, but he still needs experience.
You talked about how you wanted to play with Caps, and obviously you're watching Skumon now kind of fill the shoes of the Yike that just came before him, and then Yike who in turn was filling the shoes of Jankos, obviously famously a long-term Caps duo. What do you think those two, what do they bring to a Caps partnership? How does it differ? Do you think Skumon plays well with Caps? Do you think Yike was a good fit for Caps? How do they differ to Jankos?
I think Jankos was more of a crazy guy. I think Jankos didn't really have a big plan when he played. I think he was a very creative player. Like he had so many crazy gank angles that he was going for, and yeah, overall, I think Jankos was not really a player that was focused on the big picture a lot. I think he was just really good at skirmishes. I think that was his biggest thing, and just overall at fighting. And I think that's why he was very dominant. Like when he played with Caps, I think they were just so aggressive together that it was like so hard to stop Caps this game. I think Skumon and Yike are kind of
Similar profiles, right?
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard to say like what's the difference between them. I think like both of them kind of play slower than Jankos did. So I think for Caps it's just different. Like bigger difference between Skumon and Yike comparing to Jankos. I think Skumon and Yike is kind of similar. I don't really know how much they have input inside the game, but from what I heard, Yike was talking less, I guess, when he was on G2 compared to what Skumon does. Skumon apparently is more of a shot caller. I don't really know much, I guess, insights, but that's all I heard. And yeah, I mean, I don't really know.
Would it be fair to say, because I think to a layman or someone who doesn't see the bigger picture sometimes, probably some people at least would consider Yike and Skumon to sit in at least the same matrix of a profile as you, this kind of idea of a relatively high econ junglers, kind of what you were known for before. I think that has somewhat shifted. What do you think people get wrong about you as a player? How would you describe your profile as a player?
People think that I'm a selfish player, but the reality is I do what I think is best for the game. I think if someone follows my games closely, I think you can tell that there are the games where when I feel it's necessary to do stuff, I think I will do stuff. But when I'm confident with the game going even, I know how to wait for the opportunities to come and how to create them. I think people think that I might be selfish, but I don't really think that's the case. I think I just don't wanna leave the game for no reason. I think I just try to play the most consistent way, and if I feel like something needs to happen because the consistent way will not work in that case, then I will for sure try to get creative.
Interesting. Would you say that's the biggest kind of advantage or thing that you do better than some of these other names that we're talking about here? What splits the difference? What do you think? In your mind, what makes you better than them?
I think I'm better at team fighting. I think I'm way better at skirmishes and like making space for my team than they are, and a bit more patient with cooldowns. I think the way a lot of junglers play, like they use their cooldowns very fast in the fight. I feel like I'm kind of smart about seeing that my teammate already used a certain cooldown on a certain champ, and I don't really wanna invest too much resources in the team fight to like kill one person. I'm more like thinking about how the team fight is gonna play out more. Like let's say one person of enemy team is caught, and one person of my team is already hitting that champion. Like is it a situation where we need to play to kill that champion fast, or do we need to play in a way to not let enemy team help that champion that is getting caught? And yeah, I think I'm just good at holding the zone and holding my spells and just looking how the fight is evaluating. While a lot of players will just like see someone getting caught and they will just try to help his team just kill that one champion, or like yeah, something like that.
It's
so
interesting.
I think I'm just.
Sorry, Con. Were you going to say something as well?
No, I'm
It's interesting to hear you talk about it because all the things you're talking about you're good at in terms of able to see how things will play out before they play out, and also additional to that kind of this more cerebral evaluation zooming out factors. These are all things that to me, intelligence-wise, are linked to good spatial understanding. So you know when you do exams in school or like IQ tests or whatever they measure it on, verbal, like how good strong you are verbally, they might do like numbers and stuff like this to measure your like arithmetic and stuff like this. And then the third is like spatially. Like are you someone have you always had like strong spatial intelligence? Like for example, like how good is your perception, like your ability to conjure images, and you know the thing they do where you have to see what would this cube look like if you unfolded it and stuff like that. Was that like your best category?
I mean, I never really like looked at it like too deeply, but I never had problems with such an like things like in school. I guess I was always one of the first ones to solve this type of issues. I guess.
Okay, that's interesting.
I guess I'm not good at it.
That's interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think Blabber as well. What do you think of Blabber?
I think he is way less consistent than the Skumon and Yike. I think he can easily compete with the best players, but he just sometimes has moments where I don't know. I feel like when nothing's happening, he just really wants to make something happen. Like he's really not fine for wait for the game to come to him. Like he's always coming for the game. Like he's just gonna do something, even though sometimes it's just not necessary. And I do think like individually he's a really strong player. Like I probably probably the player I like to play against the least because I know that when it comes to the like situation where he needs to play well mechanically, he will do it. But yeah, like he just makes such a weird mistakes so often that at this point I don't really know what's causing them. Nothing's happening, and then Blabber is suddenly getting caught. I don't know, is it his teammates telling him to do something, or is it him that is just feeling the need to do something? But it just happens so many times that you can't really say that. I guess it was just a random mistake. Just yeah, it happened so many times.
It's interesting. Well, thank you so much, Inspired, for coming and being my first guest of the off-season interviews. I really
Thank you.
appreciate having spoken to you. I hope you enjoyed it. You anything you'd like to plug or give anyone a shout out? Anyone? Anything you'd like to say?
No, not really. Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully you got some interesting insights on how Lyco's journey was going.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You're free to go now. I'm going to round up the stream.
You.
Make sure that you close the OBS link because otherwise, if you have a wanker,
Okay.
you have a wanker or anything like that, I'm going to be seeing that and that's going to be on stream. So
Okay.
no worries, mate.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Yeah.
Have a great one.
The dragon blazed my trail. I will walk it. We do what we must. The dragon must be unleashed, or it will consume.
An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
Where am I? Never again will arrogance lead me astray.
Shut down. The enemy's inhibitor has respawned. Your team has destroyed a turret. Your team has destroyed a turret. An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
Shall not repeat this mistake.
Your team has destroyed an inhibitor.
My journey led me.
Your team has destroyed an inhibitor. An ally has been slain.
Master yourself. Master the enemy.